Talk is online. News Talk is a production of Paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet with more than 4 million unique users. I'm your host, Gary Baumgarten. Well, presidential hopeful John McCain caused a bit of a stir during an interview with BeliefNet. That's a website that reports on religion in the United States and worldwide, when he made comments about the United States being a nation founded primarily on Christian principles. Further, he said that he felt uncomfortable with the thought of a Muslim president. Now, this speaks to a couple of issues. It suggests that in his mind, fundamentally, there are vast differences between the teachings of Christianity and Islam. It further suggests that unlike President Bush, who believes jihadists have hijacked Islam, McCain apparently believes it to be a religion that cannot be trusted. So I want to talk about that, and I also want to talk about our next guest's suggestion that if McCain were to be elected president of the United States, that he promised to appoint a Muslim aide in the White House. Corey Saylor is National Legislative Director for the Council on American-Islamic Relations. He's here to respond to McCain's comments and to talk about CAIR's call for the appointment of a Muslim aide to the White House, and perhaps other things that you may want to bring up about CAIR. I know that he believes that there are misconceptions about his organization, and I know there's some who believe his organization is not to be trusted in and of itself. So it should be an interesting hour in front of us. Corey Saylor, welcome to News Talk Online on Paltalk.com.
Happy to be here and looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Boys, we need him to be potted up a little bit higher so that we can hear him on the phone. Thank you, Boaz. So let's talk first, Corey, about Mr. McCain, Senator McCain's comment that America is fundamentally a Christian nation and that he feels uncomfortable with the thought of a Muslim president.
Well, I mean, my initial response to that is people who wrote our Constitution wrote into Article 6 that there will be no religious test. And that was ratified by essentially what Senator McCain is suggesting is in contradiction to the Constitution, which he swears to uphold.
You're saying that his comments are contrary to the basic principles of our nation?
I believe that our nation is one that was designed to be inclusive. It's a nation that's built on ideals of liberty for all, justice for all. It was not a nation that was built on any one particular ethnic group or any one particular faith. And that's the way we'd like to see it stay.
Yet, it's probably, don't you agree with my comments, reflective of the fact that there are people in this country, now people who are national leaders, who have a general distrust of the Islamic faith?
Well, I certainly understand that our faith is misunderstood, and this long after September 11th, it's very troubling to me that people in senior leadership positions still don't understand the basic tenets of our faith. So yes, absolutely, I would agree with you.
So why is that? I mean, I would suggest that there are not sufficient numbers of mainstream Muslims who speak out against extremists in this nation. That's my perception of why Muslims are faced with this view that people have of them.
You know, unfortunately, I would disagree with you a bit on that. Mainstream Muslims are quite numerous in this country and have rejected terrorism in every way, shape, or form you can think of, from issuing a fatwa to signing, hundreds of thousands of people signing a petition, to events that we hold in mosques to make sure extremism doesn't have a chance to take root there. Two of us from the Council on American-Islamic Relations in 2006 traveled to Iraq to appeal for the release of a kidnapped journalist, just to, again, show our faith's concern for people of other faiths and our faith's rejection of extremism. So I know the condemnations are out there. Why they're not heard is still a question that I would love to answer. But certainly anybody who spends time on the internet and looks around for it can find those condemnations.
And what about those who I presume you consider your organization CAIR to be a bit beleaguered? You're an unindicted, I believe, co-conspirator in the Texas case. People are questioning the legitimacy of your organization. I know these are questions that are not new to you. What do you say about that?
Well, it's really a very simple and quite tragic answer. We are an unindicted co-conspirator in a trial that's going on down in Dallas. The New York Times had an article where a senior government official who chose to remain anonymous admitted that it's a legal tactic that's used so that they can take evidence, the prosecution can take evidence and introduce it into the court without it having been labeled as hearsay. Now, the very interesting thing about that designation is that, first of all, it violates the Department of Justice's own guidelines that say you should not reveal the names of unindicted co-conspirators, because what happens is exactly what we're going through right now. People think that somehow means you've committed a crime or something. It's not. It's a legal move. Two, we're challenging it as a violation of our due process rights under the Fourth Amendment, because there is no real way to challenge the designation. So the Department of Justice can simply say, you're an unindicted co-conspirator, and there's no way for us to go, come on, bring some evidence, show something like that. So it really is a very tragic situation with those people that are really concerned about the Bill of Rights.
My guest is Corey Saylor. He's the National Legislative Director for the Council on American-Islamic Relations. I've invited him on the show because CAIR has responded to John McCain's provocative comments that America is basically a Christian nation, and he would not like to see a Muslim in the White House, by suggesting that were McCain to be elected as President of the United States, that he would agree, and they're asking him to do this, to appoint a Muslim aide in the White House, which is kind of an interesting response to it. I don't think it really addresses the issue really. I think it just maybe moves forward the debate, but it doesn't really address his position. We have some callers already in queue waiting to talk to you. Our first caller is Cassandra. She's joining us from our affiliate ASI Online, and she is located in the United Kingdom. Welcome to the show, Cassandra.
Well, thank you very much, Gary, and hello, Corey Saylor. It's very interesting to talk to you, and I've wanted for a long time to talk to somebody from CAIR. I have a lot of questions, but we'll limit them to just a few. My comment about the situation with the Muslim community wanting to have representation in the form of an aide in the government of the United States is that I find it very difficult to understand how an organization or a religion that in fact says that its first loyalty is to its Islamic faith and its second is to its government, how you could possibly wish to be part of the government of a country whose aims and ideals that you do not support and in fact are in absolute conflict with on many occasions. And the second question, very, very quickly, is how can CAIR claim to represent the Muslim population when your latest tax returns to the IRS have been lower this year than any time before? You say that there is a growing community of Muslims in the United States, and yet the figures seem to indicate differently. Thank you.
Well, the simple answer to your first question is I don't